Hello people, today I'm going to be releasing two cannons. I don't know if I could call them two cannons really. They're both pretty much the same cannon, but one's a 1 rev and one is not a 1 rev. This is the not a 1 rev, and I could actually get rid of these on the not a 1 rev, but I'm going to be going through exactly how far they could shoot, exactly how far they could float, each one, and maybe when you would want to use one over the other. So I'm just going to show the non 1 rev going through some walls first. Make TNT toggle. Alright, I just enabled it. Let me TNT toggle. I'll show this one going through some walls first. They both have a slab bust, and they're both 3-second. And keep in mind, this is the not 1 rev. It nukes all the way down. I don't know how it'll nuke obby on your server. Some servers obby is different, but on this one, it's fine. As you can see, it works just fine. Nukes every shot. It also slab busts. So let me turn this off and get into the exact details about this cannon. So once this stops firing, of course. So as you can see, it went through all those. Anyways, how far can both of these cannons can float 90 blocks? But to prove that, this is it. This is the no 1 rev, the farthest distance it can float 90 blocks. And you're just gonna trust me. I could roll that up, but just trust me on this one. It is 90 blocks. And I'll show you floating 90 blocks, and then I'll explain exactly how far it could shoot. As you can see, 90 blocks. And now I'm going to fly this distance. I have a home there, but I'm going to fly this distance to show you how far it is. While we're going there, it's pretty far. It's 950 blocks. And so right here is the farthest that this 1 rev could shoot, 950 blocks, which is the max distance, which is about 59 chunks. So if I fire, you'll see that it works right here. And it can go a little bit farther, but the nuke stops working, and then a little bit longer down the line, it stops working in total. So this is about as far as it could go realistically. And if we head over here, if we head back to Canon, and now we're not going to use um, the non-1 rev. Now we're going to talk about the 1 rev. So the same thing. Let's just show going through a couple walls, and this is it'll look basically the same, except you'll notice a minor difference. As you can see, it gets shot up a little bit before it nukes, before it stacks and everything. And that's the 1 rev. As you can see, it goes through walls at 3 seconds. Everything's just fine. Let's turn that off and get into the exact details. After it stops shooting. Okay, so this cannon, it can float the same distance as the other one. So this is no 1 rev far, which is 90 blocks. And this is the 1 rev far, which is 90 blocks. So if I go ahead and fire, which I need to actually go press the button. If I go ahead and fire, you'll see it goes 90 blocks. Uh, or not. Maybe it was one more. Yeah, okay, it was one more. And then if I close up on here and I fly, I'm gonna fly this, and this is gonna be very far, but I'm gonna fly this just to prove a point. Okay, so here's an important part. As you can see over here is the old cannon's max. This is not the 1 rev's max, but this is where it stops fusioning. So I'm gonna fire here, and this is the last spot that the 1 rev could fusion. Which just means this is the last spot that I could hit one block and stack off of one block. any farther than this, and then it starts dipping and it'll start clipping. And when we go into talking about the use cases for each ones, that will come up a lot. So if we continue on, right here's the true max distance, uh, 1,208 blocks, so about 70 chunks, 75 chunks, which is a 258 block difference for one TNT, but it is not fusioning. So, so let's go ahead and fire it. You see right here, and this is the max distance that this could go. And as you can see, uh, it um, it still slab busts and everything. Like if I come down here, you'll see it's slab busting. But this is the max distance that the 1Rev can go. So let's go back to the cannon and talk about when you might want to use each one of these. So when would you want to use the 1Rev? Um, this is the 1Rev, and you would want to use this uh, not on force rates, I don't think. So if you're shooting really far at a base and you're force rating them, you want to use the normal cannon. And then the reason for this is because imagine we are pretty far out, right? And they patch like this. If you're past 950 blocks, for this cannon specifically, if you're past 950 blocks and the cannon shooting right here, it's going to clip if it's a 1Rev. If it's not a 1Rev, it's not going to clip because this is going to be its max distance. So if you're force rating, you do not want to use a 1Rev. Where the 1Rev is going to be useful is uh, if you need to shoot very far for counters, or maybe a side counter or something like that, where you want to be very far away, a little bit farther away than say a normal cannon. Because if somebody's raiding you with a normal cannon and you want to outrange their cannon with your counters, or even vice versa, maybe you want to outrange their counters with your cannon. If you're side countering or something, that's when you would want to use a 1Rev. I would not advise using a 1Rev while you're force rating somebody. I would only use a 1Rev for counters and side counters. This cannon is the non 1Rev, and I would use this for force rating somebody. That is about it. I will leave both of these skims down in the description with both names. This will be called the 1Rev, and this will be called the no 1Rev. And yeah, next video I'll probably release a quick print, something that you could print really quickly, and you could use for raiding and you could use for countering. Uh, and that's about it. See you guys in the next video.